okay?
Okay, thank you very much. So we're delighted to be at the ALT conference this year, sponsoring the meeting. Is there a sign-in sheet? Okay, so as I say, we're delighted to be here sponsoring the ALT conference with the application that is Me Too. I hope that you've managed to experience Me Too in some of the sessions, or you've managed to pop by to our booth. I think it's booth number 3. If you haven't, then we'll be delighted to welcome you to present Me Too to you. So Me Too is powered by Lumi. And another application that Lumi provide as well is something that we call Lumi AGM Mobile. Lumi AGM Mobile is used in corporate AGMs around the world, here in the UK obviously with FTSE 100 companies. It's used for associations and unions, and of course what it is used for is to facilitate the legal voting at those meetings and also to conduct some moderated Q&A. So I hope you enjoy using the platform today and we'll facilitate this meeting. So Lumi AGM Mobile is available, as Me Too, is available on all platforms. That is browser-based, and that's obviously Safari, Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, or it is a native application as well, that is, of course, iOS and Android. So please feel free to either download the application, if you have done so already, then thank you, or obviously access via the web browser. If you haven't downloaded the application, then probably the best thing to do is actually to go via the browser channel. It's a little bit quicker, obviously, without downloading an app, and that is web.lumiagm, that's lumiagm.com. When you access the platform on whatever platform you do, you will then be presented with the meeting ID number. That is a very specific meeting ID number that is for the ALT conference only. And that meeting ID number is on the screen there. It is 135656831. When you enter that meeting ID, you'll then be asked for your username and password. The username, I believe, has been communicated to you via email. That is your number. And then the password is a generic password for everybody, and that is ALT_AGM1616, all lowercase. And when you access the platform, you have then obviously authenticated yourself into the AGM, and we will register your attendance. And then on the platform, I hope you'll be able to experience on that info screen some very useful links to you that obviously link to PDF documents, minutes, etc. from previous meetings. And then, of course, you can vote. When we announce the resolutions, you will see the voting options appear on your device. They will be pushed to your device, and you will press, obviously, your desired choice by selecting that option, 1 for 2 for against, or to abstain, press the abstain option. There is another facility as well, that is Q&A. Feel free to ask any questions via that platform, or of course via the usual method, a verbal question as well, and that will be moderated and then obviously passed to the top table here. So thank you very much, and of course we'll help anybody who needs help, but hopefully it's a very good experience for you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, thank you. Okay, now so on to item 3, approval of the minutes of the last general meeting. We've got 2 sets of minutes from 2015 because we've got 2 charities going. Is anybody here who was here at the meeting last year? We need some people, excellent. And we need someone to propose and second both sets of minutes are okay.
Yeah. So proposer James Clay, thank you James.
We need a second.
Sheila.
Okay, thank you. And on to item 4, matters arising from the minutes of the last general meeting. Are there any matters arising for anyone? We don't have any listed. No, there's no outstanding actions. Okay. Item 5, annual report and accounts for 2015-16. I'm just going to hand over to Daniel Clark, who's our honorary treasurer, and Nicola Cadwallader, ALT's auditor.
Great, thanks Fiona. So very warm welcome to the AGM. I do remember the first time I attended being told that of the many exciting things that happen at ALT-C, This may not be the most exciting, but it is the one that is a legal requirement. Okay, Alt actually has to hold this meeting in order to exist, so thank you very much for being here and helping us to carry on for another year. Those of you who don't know me, this is my first year as Honorary Treasurer. My name is Daniel Clark. I'm a chartered accountant by background. I've worked in finance for a while, worked in and around online education, been a member of Alt for several years, and took over last year from Hayden Blackie, who many of you will know, who's now happily enjoying his well-earned retirement, as the Honorary Treasurer. Now, Hayden had to deal with some pretty slightly more difficult issues because last year, those of you who were here last year will know that Alt at that time had a few, there was a hole basically in the financial position caused by reduction in external funding, which most of you will be familiar with, happened across the sector. And the plan at that time that the trustees put in place was to ensure that Alt's core activities were funded by core recurring, largely recurring income. So the core sort of funding requirement of Alt really is to do with staff and premises and related costs. And the core income is membership income, both individual and institutional, also the conferences and to some extent the CMALT certification fees. Now, if you look at the accounts for this year, or the year ended last January, what they show is that actually that strategy has been very successful. And ahead of our target, we have managed to establish a situation where those core funding needs are met by those core recurring income. So that's, can't take too much credit for that. That's mostly down to Hayden, the trustee team and the staff team. But that's a very pleasing result to be able to support. So the sort of overall position in the financial statements are that we've achieved a surplus of £9,000 for this year, which is a really great result. That shows we are financially stable. We are optimistic, that looking at what's happened this year so far, that stability will continue and that we will continue in that sort of position. Just wanted to make a couple of observations just based on sort of my experience as Treasurer over the last year that I just want to very quickly share with you. Firstly, the thing that's really struck me, meeting Maren and the team and so on, is that Alt can seem at times like a very big organisation. You come to events like this and there's hundreds of people and there's big name speakers and have huge impact. The core organisation is actually pretty small. It's a pretty small team in a room in Oxford, working there, but manages to generate a huge amount of impact. And that, I think, is partly testament to some very smart use of time and resources. It's also very much testament to you guys, to the membership of Alt, many of whom get involved with committees, get involved with local groups, get involved with the discussion group, do all sorts of things, because we all care about this whole issue. We put a lot into the organisation, get a lot out of it. So it's just striking, with my finance hat on, to look at the accounts and see that the numbers aren't that big, and yet it's an organisation that generates huge impact. So just really struck me. And then the second point is a slightly more sort of technical point, if I may. We went through a process this year of reviewing our audit arrangements, and that resulted in appointing new auditors, David Cadwallader & Co, with Nicola as our audit partner, who's been incredibly helpful to us. It's been a really good change. And at the time, it was worth at least considering the fact that a charity of Alt's size isn't legally required to have a full audit. Okay, we are small enough that we could do without it. And there is a cost, fairly modest cost, as Nicola no doubt tell you. But there is a cost to it, but we think it's important. We think it's really important to have someone independent, trained, qualified, come in, review our finances, sign off that, in her opinion, they are true and fair, because that's part of our responsibility to you, our members, to show that we're being very transparent in how we handle resources, in how we use them, and that you can have assurance in our stewardship of those funds. So we've asked Nicola to come along, and she's very kindly agreed to come and in person and talk to you about the two sets of accounts and a few other issues. And then following Nicola's presentation, we'll both be available to take any questions you might have about the finances. So,
So, as Daniel said, and hopefully you've seen, there's two sets of accounts this year because of there have been two charities operating in the year. I understand that the formal transfer from one to the other was done at last year's AGM. So the old charity, with the charity number 1063519, has had accounts prepared showing the income and expenditure up to the date of transfer of 9th September 2015, and then it showed that all the funds got transferred over to the new charity at that date, and there's therefore nil balance sheet, nothing left in the old charity. So just for completeness, those accounts would need to be filed with the Charity Commission, as do the new ones. The new ones, however, have been prepared under what's called merger accounting, which means quite straightforwardly what they include is all of the income and expenditure for this year. The comparatives show all of the income and expenditure for last year under the old charity, and the balance sheets are again comparable across the two entities, which I think is actually, that's the requirement of the new SORP, which is the Statement of Recommended Practice for accounting for charities. And I think that probably makes sense for the layperson. It means that you can see, actually, irrespective of the change in the legal structure of the charity, you can compare like with like. And Daniel's taken you through the figures and given you an overview of the way that they do compare with last year. So I've audited both sets of accounts. Both sets of accounts have an audit report on them, and both audit reports are absolutely clear, clean, unqualified, meaning that there are no issues that need to be brought to the trustees' attention, and that, yeah, as Daniel says, that the accounts are true and fair. As part of our audit work, we also do what's called a report to management, explaining any significant weaknesses that we find in the charity's accounting systems and procedures. And I'm pleased to report that there were no issues that I needed to report to the trustees this year. So that's it, really. I think that should be fairly straightforward, and hopefully any questions? No.
Did you want to ask for any points of clarification about the two sets of accounts? Does anybody have any questions regarding the transition of the charities for the both sets of accounts? I think you've explained it all very well.
Great. Okay, so if there are no questions, the AGM needs to approve the accounts. So we need a proposer for the motion to approve the accounts.
Alistair Clark, thank you.
And second?
James Clay, yeah, thank you.
And here's where we get to vote.
So the vote is now open. You should be seeing the resolution and the voting options on your device. Pause for 5 more seconds.
Should we have 2 votes?
Yes, and yes. The number of votes that you are allocated is in the system, so you are voting on behalf of multiple votes in your one vote, yes. Okay, it appears that everybody seems to have voted. It's gone, the vote is now steady, so I will close the vote.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Item 6 now, the appointment of an auditor for the 2016-17 accounts. And we propose that David Cadwallader and Co Limited, accountants of Chesterton, be appointed as auditors. Can we have a seconder for that?
Bella, thank you. Unless there's any objections.
Oh, yeah,
You can put it to vote now.
okay, we can put that to a vote now.
So the vote is now open. I can see you're all very quick that time, so the vote is now steady. And I will close the poll now. And the results are on the screen. the resolution reference appears on the top. So it says Resolution 2, which we are voting on now. But yeah.
Okay, lovely, thank you. So that's approved. Yep. Okay, item 7, a brief verbal report from Maren and the award of honorary life membership.
Well, now I wanted to just say thank you to Pete for facilitating our voting. That concludes the technically challenging part of the AGM, and we appreciate your cooperation in trialling this with us this year. Now, I have the privilege of giving you a very brief report as ALT's Chief Executive, and I wanted to start this year with talking about delivering our strategy. Fiona and I, together and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, wrote to you at the end of last year when we reviewed how much progress we had made in delivering the association's strategy since its beginning. And we're now only 5-6 months away from launching the next one, and I think we have made outstanding progress in all of the different areas. But there is one in particular that I wanted to reflect on today with you, particularly as we're here bringing together our community through the conference this year, which is a phenomenal growth of members groups and also special interest groups across the UK. Many of you will know that this afternoon, in fact in the last session, a lot of our members groups are getting together. Yesterday the East Midlands members group and also Alt Wales already met. And as you can see, our world domination is only one step away now, with active groups all across the UK happening. Now, while that is a wonderful development, it also proposes real operational challenges. And I think when Daniel said that we achieve a lot of impact with very little resource, he was not exaggerating. So I wanted to point out my colleagues who are here from the staff team today, because we do support all of the growing community of members and of groups that we have across the UK. So I wanted to point out my colleague Jane Frankel, who looks after our finance. Jane, if you wanted to give a little wave and say hello. And also my colleague Anna David, who's our events manager and will obviously be hosting you here today. And last, sitting in the front here is Tom Palmer, who looks after our membership. So hopefully all of you will know Tom. And I think someone's hiding behind the screen, so I'm not sure if you might be able to see him or not, but invisible magic, as always, by our own Martin Hawksey, who's supporting the AGM live and enabling the streaming. So all of us are very proud in the role we play alongside you and our Board of Trustees in what we deliver in the ALT strategy. And it is very much an association powered by members. I think this should be our new strapline. Because a lot of what we do all across our publications, from the blogs to the journals, and we have a burgeoning count of blogs, to a symposium that was hosted by government earlier this year when we talked about learning technology in further and higher education, to a new portfolio sharing initiative for CMALT, and I pray you note official business that I now am a certified member, which I wanted to point out. Thank you very much. So hopefully that will give me and my colleagues an even better understanding of how to support you. But it's not to be underestimated the power we have as a community. And I feel we've had a very bleak summer, not necessarily in learning technology, but in general in the UK, with a lot of upheaval to come. And our strategy for the next 3 years, starting in February 2017, is not just going to have to re-emphasize our values of openness, of collaboration, and of community that can sometimes feel like they're under threat, but also ensure that on an operational footing we are on a safe and secure established base so that we can make sure that learning technology really goes from strength to strength, not just into the mainstream, but also supporting learners and teachers across all the different education sectors that we feel passionately about. So I think this is a pivotal time for us for the next few months. And we have opened a suggestion box for the strategy in case we need your bright ideas, but also Tom's put suggestion box forms on the alt stand so that you can contribute yourself. And we hope very much to hear from you. And every single one of you has a unique perspective, experience from your institution, your career, your professional experience that we need to benefit from in order to represent you At our most powerful, at government level, nationally and internationally, we need to hear from you. So please do come and tell us. All feedback is what we really need, good and bad. But now, a last item to report on, I haven't had the privilege of reporting on since 2012, when we celebrated Sepp Schmuller, our last chief executive, my predecessor. So this year, it is a special privilege to be presenting 2 awards. The first one is the 2016 award of honorary life membership of the Association for Learning Technology, and I put some quotes up from the nomination that I'm going to read out. I hope I've obscured a little bit of who it might be, so the tension should rise now appropriately. A highly internationally respected scholar whose contribution to research and policy has been highly influential. Also, their long-term involvement in developing the academic quality of the Network Learning Conference as a member of the scientific community has been outstanding. Of note is their determination to support the emerging community through their approachable, supportive nature for junior colleagues. And the Net Generation project illustrates impact in influencing national policy. What makes this nominee exceptional? It is rare to see such a collection of warm and glowing tributes from such an impressive range of colleagues for one person. As soon as we made it known that we were putting together this nomination, we have been inundated by people keen to contribute. And indeed, I could have filled 10 slides with the feedback that we received. So after careful consideration by the panel of trustees who oversaw the selection process this year, we're very pleased and proud to announce that the 2016 Honorary Life Membership of ALT goes to Professor Chris Jones. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. That's possibly the most embarrassing minute or two that I've had for a long time. One of the things I've got to say is a really big thank you to Liverpool University colleagues who nominated me, because just being nominated was enough in a way, because the fact that somebody thought of putting me forward really made me very pleased indeed. So you can imagine how pleased I was when I got an email saying you can't tell anyone from Marin, which was very difficult as we had a North West England meeting in the intervening period between getting that email and arriving here. So I had to keep my mouth shut, which was extremely difficult for me, as some of you will know. It's really important to me to get this also because this is one of the communities that I most value. So all my academic career, I've been a member, I think an individual member for most of the time and a corporate member for those early years when I wasn't an individual member. And it's been extremely important for me as an academic who's working primarily in that field to have this reference group. A lot of the people who've done masters and doctoral qualifications that I've been involved with are now part of this community. And I think that's really, really important. We keep that link. The journal is an excellent example of maintaining that link. And the conference is another excellent example of how we keep that link between academic work and the solid work of the practitioners in this community. So very, very pleased to get this. Thank you very, very much. Yes, right, right.
Now, you might think that was excitement enough, but last year there was also a nomination. And the award, which was made unanimously, had to be deferred because the individual, for the first time in our history, was ineligible to be awarded in that particular year. However, they are this year. And so, retrospectively, for 2015, we will make a second award today. Now, I have to say, while I really struggled to fit all of Chris's plaudits onto PowerPoint, I struggled to fit these quotes onto less than a book. Because this individual, I feel ill-qualified to introduce, having contributed to leading thinking in the sector and across all sectors of education for several decades, from the beginning as a maths lecturer. Going on to publish more publications than I can possibly mention and research papers, including an outstanding first book called Rethinking University Teaching, a conversational framework for the effective use of learning technologies, which might give those of you who read these books a bit of a clue. She carried on with secondment to government's education department at the time, and I feel we might have come full circle in that respect again, developing a cross-sector e-learning strategy, a world first, which I think we would still benefit from today if we only had such a thing. But I think the personal qualities, as well as their outstanding academic, research and policy achievement on a national and international level, is what make this individual member such a worthy recipient. Because in a community where we value collaboration so highly, where support, particularly for young career researchers, for women, for different sectors, is so crucial, they have made the biggest impact. Highly respected by researchers, practitioners and government alike, and someone whose passion for supporting teachers and learners is a driving force for change in the sector. Personally, I feel very humbled that we have her here today as we nominate Diana Laurillard for our honorary life membership.
God, I know what you mean, Chris. Embarrassing. God, it really is, isn't it? And I have to say, I was just so delighted when I heard about this. And I've had to keep it secret for a year. I mean, just imagine that. I've been in this field for as long as I can remember, and my memory isn't that good, but it seems pretty much like a lifetime. I've certainly been a member of ALT for all of its life. You've got me for life, and for you to take the trouble to give me an honorary life membership is just wonderful, and I really thank you for that. Because, as Maren said, the relationship that I've had with ALT has been so important in each stage of the different bits of my career involving learning technology. And right from ALT's very inception, around the time that I was in the Department for Education and Skills trying to put together this cross-sector e-learning strategy, having ALT there and SEB there to power along and make the debate and make the case for what we were trying to do was so important. And ever since then, and the recent collaboration that we've had with ALT to put together the first MOOC on blended learning for the FE sector, it's all been so important. And the reason that you stay passionate, that everybody here stays passionate, I think, is that we all understand that there's nothing more important than education for world peace and prosperity. There is nothing more important than education for that. And if you've got such a big idea, such a big ambition, you've got to use technology to help you do it. So there is nothing more important to be working on in this world than learning technology, and the association helps us lead that. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for this great honor. I'm absolutely delighted.
Right, now after, I have nothing to top that. It just leaves me to say thank you for your support over the last year together with my colleagues. We worked very hard to do the best for our community, and we're very proud to serve you. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I'll hand back over to Fiona to continue the business of the AGM. Thank you.
Thank you, Maren. Thank you. Okay, that's lovely. So now it's on to item 9, the election to trustee vacancies. and it's time to announce the results of the election. First of all, a vice chair for the association, an ex officio member of the Central Executive Committee, who will become chair in 2017 and president in 2018. And it's our absolute pleasure to announce that Sheila McNeil has been elected unopposed. Well done, Sheila. And secondly, we have 2 individuals to serve for 3 years as trustees of ALT from September this year. We've got 2 trustees who are Bella Abrams and Lorna Campbell. So again, congratulations to both of you and thank you. So I'm just going to invite Martin Weller to come up with me right now, who is the chair of ALT from this meeting. Yeah, we'll sing. Do it our way. We also thought it'd be very appropriate at this moment. Normally what would happen is the president would hand over to the chair and that would have it work. But unfortunately, we just thought it would take a moment to remember that Doug Gowan sadly passed away. He was our president in February of this year. We're very, very sad about that, obviously, but we want to remember him today. We thought we'd just take a moment to just show a couple of slides representing his work for us as ALT. We're very fond of ALT. He was very significant in the work that we did. He was very supportive of Maren for a long time, working very closely with her, and for a short time with me. I didn't know him very much, but we did get to work with him. So I thought it was very, very important that we should recognise his contribution here. He would be with us, I'm sure. Thank you. So in memory of Doug Gowan, we're launching a fund to support 10 individuals from the learning and skills sector to achieve CMALT accreditation. First as a CMALT holder and later as a trustee of ALT, Doug took an active interest in the development and scheme and recognised its importance for individuals in the learning and skills sector in particular. So we just thought if we just put our hands together now just to say thank you to Doug for allowing us to do this in his memory. Obviously you can see there that eligibility will be up there and published on our website. But yeah, so anyway, so I think that concludes our AGM on a slightly sad note, but we're very happy with the new members, so that's a good thing. Okay, so thank you all very much for attending. Thanks for doing that.